talk about it. We're really excited about launching our new podcast, and it's live now on the Autotopia LA podcast channel. We've had some great guests already. Looking forward to talking to so many of our friends because, you know, we're pretty plugged in with some amazing folks in the automotive space. So check out Autotopia LA podcast channel, hit the subscribe, hit the notifications so you know when we go live, but it's going to be every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you love what we're doing, and thanks for checking it out. Now let's go for a drive. So you guys, we're trying this new format. By the way, I'd love it in the comments if you let me know. Rather than knowing what we're driving, other than I know for sure it's a 66 Nova, Slick 66 helps you know that.
Sir.
But other than that, I really don't know much about the car. I'll reintroduce Mikey when we're doing the interview, but this is Mikey, has a company out in Arizona called Driven Speed Shop. You first came to my awareness, you know, when you built the, wasn't it called Phoenix?
Yeah.
The Camaro, beautiful 69. I know Sean Smith was involved with you on that. So this is only really the second car that I know about from you guys. How long have you guys been in business?
We launched Driven Speed Shop in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, over the past 7 or so years, we've had the opportunity to put together a good amount of cars, and just a few are at this level. Another handful in the works, obviously, but Phoenix was kind of our first heavy hitter that we put out, and this one followed it up.
And it was a heavy hitter. I mean, that was such a, God, what a beautiful car. This is, I'm actually looking forward to get into all the detail stuff. Some of the things right away, obviously, stellar cool interior. Do you guys do everything in-house?
No, this interior was done by SoCal Rods in Ontario.
Ah, okay. Those guys do clean work. I've seen a bunch of their stuff.
Yeah, good dudes over there. Paint and body is not done in-house either. We sublet that as well.
So you guys are all the mechanical fabrication, assembly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boy, right away, there's a handful of things. So I'm going to guess on some things. LS?
Yeah. It's
supercharged.
Supercharged LS7 platform.
Nice.
Yeah, the engine package.
It's a dry sump.
No, it's
not. Okay.
It's still a wet sump. This is one of Casey Wagner's 427 street packages.
So with that, you're making what, 8+?
It did 1080 on the engine dyno on E85, yeah, and it's tuned right now on pump gas. So we just did 715 wheel. Pretty conservative.
Knowing Casey Wagner and the stuff they build, and just that it's LS7 supercharged.
Right.
The manual, you're obviously T56, yeah?
Yep.
Is it not just the most perfect transmission on a muscle car?
It doesn't get any better. This one's from Mark Baller over at Baller Transmission.
It is. So I can already tell everything's the best of what's available out there, or at least best at that level. You know, maybe there's other options, but
sure.
Like Bowler, I don't think it gets better.
Yeah.
We were talking briefly about it. So it is Roadster Shop's fast track, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows I'm wearing a Roadster Shop shirt today. That's funny. I didn't even know that. I'm the guy that grabs whatever shirt's on top of the pile, and that's usually what I'm wearing that day.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I noticed when I walked up to you today.
That's funny.
Shirt.
Jeremy, Josh, Phil.
Yeah.
Got your back, boys. By the way, I feel what you say. You know, I agree, and I'll bet you your owner's going to agree. The braking, and I love manual brakes, but you can tell it's a lot of pedal and not as much braking.
Yeah, it's a heavy pedal effort on this one. Wow, good call, dude.
You gotta love LA, right?
I love LA.
So it's a full manual brake setup.
Full manual.
Yeah. Dang, this car is a nice driving car, Mikey.
Yeah, she works good.
Lips, this car is bitching, man.
Yeah, one thing I really like about kind of the usability of this, obviously the chassis platform is always rock solid, but one thing we did, if you notice, is that tilt and hanging throttle pedal.
Yeah.
We've rigged a drive-by-wire sensor into it so we could still use their race pedal. And if you notice, like, it's got a whole lot of stroke in the pedal.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of resolution there. Because a lot of like the standard GM pedal stuff that you try to use with 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, it's very, they have very short stroke on the throttle, right? So it's very hard.
The response is
it's
nasty.
right there. There's not a lot of resolution there.
I'm glad this isn't like that.
Your wife can drive it.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that you're making that much power with this car, that was why it was one of the first questions I asked you as we started to drive. I want to mentally prepare for where are we at the tires. All right, we're at over 7 at the tires, and torque-wise, you're probably even more than that.
It was over 8.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It seems to me, for any of you guys that build cars for a living this scale, you put so much heart and soul into what you do. You've spent years to get the skill set to be able to actually execute this. At the end, it's got to be such a heartbreaking process when you go, okay, cool, time to deliver the car to the owner.
Yeah, very bittersweet.
It's become your baby at this point. I mean, how many years do you have in this car? Yeah,
it's been at my shop for over 4 years. The customer had snuck in a C10 build in between that, and overall, a build like this is 2 to 3 years all day long.
Yeah.
Even on the fast lane, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yep. What are you geared at in the rear end?
This is a 370 rear gear ratio.
Yeah. The Roadster shop guys get it. The car just eats the bumps up. You start to go through a turn, you go, okay, I could carry double the speed through here without even thinking about it.
Right.
With a bolt-in chassis, it's one thing, but with what you guys are doing where you're welding it in, building a floor.
Yeah.
I know if you don't do the installation right, it doesn't do what it's doing right now, but this car, boy, dude, you could drive this car all day long.
All day long.
Oh,
And that's the plan, The customer reached out to us to build a nasty Nova that he's gonna beat the hell out of. He's not the show car guy by any means. Jeremiah, the owner, he's gonna
go drive this car.
Oh, he's gonna drive the shit out of this car. And the plan was never car shows. The plan was never. But as we kind of pushed the envelope and he loosened up through the build and let us get a little more creative. By the time we're all said and done and got the car assembled, we stepped back and look at it and we're like, whoa, this thing's pretty nice.
This is a nice car.
Maybe we should go show it. And he was gracious enough to let us use the car for about 6 months showing it. And,
that's awesome, dude.
But it's still back to the original plan. The car goes home after this to Texas, and Jeremiah is gonna...
And he's gonna go let it eat.
Yeah, he's gonna let it eat. Yeah, just look out Slick66 social media. I'm sure you'll see.
I love the guys like that they do allow a guy like you to build a true show quality. I mean, this is a show car.
It is.
And if it's a trailer queen, you go, yeah, I mean, I get it. It is that pretty of a car.
Sure.
But that now he's probably chomping at the bit to, the thing's going to get dropped off. He's probably going to, let it rip.
Yeah, right.
Nice driving car, dude.
Thanks, man.
It's refreshing to me. A lot of you guys hear me talk about it more and more lately, is that the true show car does nothing for me anymore because I've experienced enough of them where it's just an effort to drive it on and off a trailer because it's so undrivable, the ergonomics,
Well, listen, Sean, I like to think of myself as an opportunist, and I feel like I have an opportunity to get feedback from you, someone who's been behind the wheel of
a lot of cars.
Some of the best cars that have been built, period. We are not show car guys. We build cars to use, and we're constantly learning every day. And I look forward to your full intent feedback on how this car works. But I really am, because that means a lot to me. And the only thing we want to do is keep pushing the envelope and making them work better.
Sure. I mean, I got to tell you, the only thing that stands out to me is what I already said. I like how much there is in the brake pedal. I would want, when I'm hitting it that hard, I want more braking personally.
Yeah.
I want it, I don't know if you'd be able to lock these brakes, and I want them to be able to lock, not that you're going to want to, but you know what I'm saying. I want to know where my touch point is.
Sure.
That's the only thing. I wish there was more brake on it.
Yeah.
and you got all the brake in the world. You know, you already said earlier, you
just working through the hydraulics.
Yeah, you said you've even talked to the owner about it. He's going to drive it, and then if he needs to adjust.
Yeah, we'll make a change. Yeah.
That's the only thing. Otherwise, this car's, even the ergonomics are really, it's super comfortable sitting in here driving. You know, it's.
Yeah.
And I just can't get over. It's such a beautiful thing to have what we do with chassis. What RS does at this point to me is...
well, what a time we live in where you can be in a 1,000 horsepower 66 Nova that looks like this and has AC and is comfortable and works.
Totally.
And, I mean, our industry is incredible. It's been nuts.
It's a testament to what you built. The only thing you told me about prior to driving was how you're not 100% happy with the ratios and stuff to where you're not getting the brake you want.
Yeah, got a heavy pedal on the brake.
That was the only thing you mentioned, which set me up for it. I was already looking for it.
Yeah.
How many times you get in a car, you know, someone you know, and they go, yeah, don't turn full hard left. You're gonna rub the fender. Watch out on the right.
Here's the manual. Make sure you read it before you drive it.
There's all the different things, and
yeah, man, that happens too often in our industry.
Yeah,
and it's sad.
Yeah.
Right?
That's all I got is yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. Came up on those cars quick.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's almost like tunnel vision.
See you at the next spot, guys. Next spot.
You guys are cooking some hot chili there.
Yeah.
God, this car's...
I haven't floored it yet, dude.
I don't know that we got enough road to floor it, bro. You know what else? I keep natural as you're getting pinned to the seat like I am.
Yeah.
To want to grab for something.
You got one.
This grab handle they made is great.
Yeah. SoCal put that one right where it needed to be.
But it's right on point. Like the way it's concaved in the back here to shape around your hand, which was smart of them. The car makes over 7 at the tires. You might want to hold on to something,
Yeah,
son.
grab something, right?
Man. Tire in 3rd gear. Son of a bitch, dude. And you're a driver.
Yeah, she's a ripper.
Oh, that was nice. That was nice. Man, I want one now.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't we all, man?
So we've done the drive. You guys get a sense of what this car is. I definitely get a sense. We talked about some of it during the drive, but we're gonna get into the nuts and bolts of all that it took to build what we're seeing here. Before we do that, just a couple quick things I wanna throw at you. Number one, Massive thanks to Jags, who's become really friends with us at this point. They just stepped on as a channel sponsor, and they are very well known for their performance parts line, but what you might not know about them is they've just launched a line of classic car restoration parts. Quarter panels, fenders, doors, everything you potentially need for classic car restoration. So I highly recommend take a look at Jags, see if you can find what you want there, because they're great people. Final thing is just that merch reminder, atlamerch.com. If you see stuff we wear that you like, I recommend go over and grab it, because we don't order a ton of stuff and it does really sell out fast. With all of that said, if you're still sticking around, it means you wanted more than just the driving. So let's bring Mikey in and we're gonna talk through what the hell this car is.
Yes, sir.
So I know some of the bullet point stuff, but why don't we, I mean, obviously it's a 66 because it's called Slick 66. A guy like me can even figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Let's pop the hood. We'll go through the mechanicals and then we'll go through all the body mods that you guys have done to create, including a spectacular engine bay.
Sure.
But you were saying when we drove, it's a Wagner Motorsports LS7.
Yep.
What's the blower on it?
Yeah, it's a Whipple 2.9 liter, which obviously Casey supplies with his street engine packages. And
Yeah.
it made 1080 on the engine dyno over at Casey's place. Yeah, on E85. It's on pump gas now, but
Yeah, but plenty.
yeah.
You said it connects to a Mark Bowler, a Bowler Transmissions, right?
Yep.
T56.
Yep. One of his T56 packages that's spec'd out to handle the abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it handles it well because you were banging on it pretty good and it just
Seems to work perfect.
deal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, we talked about rear end gearing, your 370, but what rear end is in the car?
It's a Ford 9-inch platform.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and again that comes standard on the Roadster Shop Fast Track platform.
That's all part of the whole platform,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yep.
Which is so cool that they do that. I also, not that I would ever be the one plumbing brakes anyways, but it's so cool how all your brakes are already, your lines are already running and everything.
Yeah,
right?
they're making it very user friendly.
Yeah.
You know, they keep adding more and more options to make it easier on the builder side, which we appreciate, you know.
It's great. Was Sean Smith involved in this car or no?
No, Sean designed the interior for us in the early stages, yeah.
Okay, so the engine bay is you guys coming up with this on your own?
Yeah, you know, the project didn't start with a show car approach or mentality, so we didn't feel the need to go through the design process of getting all the details. It was kind of like let's build as we go type vibe. And as we kind of kept pushing forward on making the car mechanically something special and something that the customer can really beat on, everything kind of organically just happened, you know?
And this is all you guys building all this, right?
100% of it,
metal,
yeah.
The cleaning up the firewall.
Yeah. On the unibody platforms, obviously the whole floor, firewall, trunk pan, wheel tubs has to get cut out of the car.
Yeah.
And then we section the body over the Roadster Shop platform, and then we have to start building everything. So when we got to the firewall, we wanted to put a little detail in it, obviously, and then the idea of a full roll cage came through because we knew the customer's gonna really be beating on it, and he wanted a racy vibe.
Yeah.
So as we came through the firewall with the roll cage, then starts the inner fender fab, and what are we gonna do for inner fenders? And we kind of had an idea of trying to make the roll cage float around the inner fenders. So the inner fenders are kind of hugging the roll cage. They're not bolted to it. They're not, well, they are bolted to it on the underside, but from here it looks like it's just hugging it.
Yeah.
So that was a cool design feature that came up with on the fly. And then
I also like how you did this to recess the hinges down in there. That's
yeah. A couple
pretty.
Just reveals that kind of hug and shroud the hinge we thought was appropriate. You'll see it on pretty much all of our builds.
your intake is so. Is there? Where's your intercoolers at then?
So all the supercharger intercoolers up front, you know, this bumper is very, very custom.
Yeah.
So that opening is to feed the intercoolers, and then we have AC condenser, and then the radiator stack.
So then this is all fresh air just coming in, feeding in right there. Ah, dude.
Yeah. So the whole front of the car is purposeful, right? Coming from a performance background, our shop is very geared around making it work. It's gotta have cool air. It's such a crutch to horsepower. So there's actually ductwork that's hand fabricated that kind of hugs around the tire up under there, and it directs fresh air right from the grill. And then there's some flat air filters that are housed in the inner fender, and then these lids and the intake tube.
Did you guys make all this?
Yeah, so we already had the filters fabricated into the inner fenders and placed, and we hand fabricated to this point. And we were knee deep in fab, customers got pressure, let's go. And then we started looking at how intricate the airbox was gonna be with the radiator fill and all these reliefs that kind of would have happened. So kind of pulled the reins back on hand fabbing them and called our engineer, and we actually 3D scanned it, and we modeled these in CAD and went through like 4 or 5 print revisions, and then finally did a final print revision out of carbon nylon.
So this is all 3D
That's
printed.
3D printed. Yeah.
God, I love modern technology. Right? It's just so good.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know, and you know, obviously not that we couldn't build it, but it's used technology to our favor. We were able to work on other things as the engineer was doing some CAD work. So
let's go into the body mods while we're up front here.
Sure.
Is this a fully built bumper by you guys?
No, there's a lot of factory steel still there.
There is.
Yeah,
okay.
it's highly modified. So we've obviously pinched it and tucked it into the body, and then we've obviously relieved the fender to give it a home to nest into around the fender side.
Yeah.
There used to be a license plate provision, so the main center of this bumper is custom because it had a lot of shape to it before.
Yeah.
Between the front opening and the reveal and carrying that body line through all the way around, and if you look at the side of the car, that body line in the bumper didn't exist where it lines up into the fender.
I see that. It's so nice.
Yeah, the bottom one keeps running. And then just packaging restraints, we had the heat exchanger up front is lower than the bumper, so the next thing was what are we gonna do for a front splitter to make sure we hide that and give it that kind of that last tasteful touch in the front. Customer says, hey, how about a tow hook, even though it's a little tunerish? And I say, hey man, it's your car.
Why not?
It looks good.
I mean, and given that his idea is to go beat the hell out of it, keep it race inspired.
Little race inspired, yeah, I like it.
Any modifying to the hood itself?
Yeah, so the hood had a lot of provisions for factory trim here. So the front couple inches of this hood is handmade. We also had to remake the inner structure to have relief and clearance around the supercharger. So the center section of this inner structure was made by us.
That's all you guys.
Yeah, we made a Polmax die and drew it out of sheet metal and got it.
I told you, this is the part that trips me out with you guys. Is so much of what you guys do makes actual sense to me. When you guys start altering shapes of metal and making. You know, I mean, you know what you do, but to you, it's what you guys do every day. To a guy like me, I literally marvel at this, that you've created what looks like an OE structure here, but it's all clearanced around knowing you got your blower. And
10, 15 years ago, you didn't see as much of it. And nowadays, you had a few guys that were kind of pushing that and leading the industry in sheet metal work. Now us builders that are taking it serious are implementing that and those old school techniques to make stuff happen, you know?
Was it a clean car to start with, or was it a basket case or something?
It was a previous drag car.
Okay.
That was pretty well cut up.
Okay.
And it looked decent, and then we started getting into it, and it was pretty haggard. I mean, we've put a roof skin on it, both quarters, trunk, both doors.
Okay.
One fender. So it's really like one fender, and then maybe 40% of the inner structure of the body is still there.
Got it.
And the rest
is all,
the rest we made or bought new panels and made it work.
And then one thing I know we didn't touch on the mechanicals, knowing Roadster Shop, it's probably all bare brake, on the car?
Sir. Yep, all bare brakes, yep.
So I had the pleasure of on the drive back being in the camera car watching you guys go down the road, and dude, the stance on this is so good.
Yeah,
right?
it's hard. It's hard, yeah.
What are you running wheel tires? Like, what are they, sizes, all that?
These are a Forge line. I believe they're a CV F3 is the wheel indication, and it's a 19-inch rear and an 18-inch front. That's 11.5 in the rear and 9-inch in the front. And we're running Michelin Pilot Sport tires. It's got a 325 in the rear and a 255 up front.
And just blowing the 325 right off.
Oh yeah.
And not even putting your foot to the floor.
Sure. It's got a lot of torque, man.
I like all the combination of colors on this car. The gray sits well against the, not having the full wheel painted, but having some bare metal to see.
Yeah, a little brush finish we pulled in, the mirror base and some exposed hardware. We kind of tried to not take too much of the Nova out of it. We obviously flush glass and those things, but leaving the wing window and the door handles and even the key lock, being it's going to Houston, I think it pays homage to what the car was, right?
And I love that you left that stuff on. Custom cars, there's the different phases that it goes through. No knock to anyone, but shaved door handles to me, it was so cool at one period of time. I love seeing either a stock or a modern,
or something.
that replicates it.
Sure.
I also noticed, obviously, vents gone,
Yeah.
windshield wipers. Ain't driving this in the rain.
No, yeah, that cowl was smooth, and we hand built the whole thing. We actually raised it up almost an inch to get the glass to kind of flow in the front of that car a little bit better.
And the drip rails, obviously.
Yeah.
Whose mirrors? These are cool.
Those are from the Ring Brothers.
Jim and Mike, my
Jim and
boys.
Mike.
With all the lines along the side, are you going through and like kind of peaking stuff and making it sharper, or is it?
Yeah, it's been refined. It's
Yeah.
That's every corner, every detail on the car has been refined at the body shop, and obviously
Yeah.
on the metal side too, there's a lot of time spent making that doable and approachable, so it's not a slung full of mud, but they get the full refinery treatment. I think that's part of a high-end build. It's kind of goes along with the territory, right?
I think you have to. I think
Yeah.
I think everybody expects your lines to all be really sharp and peaked. And
Sure.
rear of the car treatment, obviously bumpers again.
Yeah, lots of work went into this rear bumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting it to kind of fill the voids of, they were just out in no man's land from the factory, right? So even if you modify brackets to try and tuck them in, there's still a lot of gaps. So from top to bottom of this bumper's been tucked, cleaned up, lengthened. The rear of the deck lid's been lengthened to close up that gap between the bumper and the trunk. The top of the bumper is a lot deeper than it was, so you're not looking down into a cavity anymore.
Yep. Is this a stock line in the car?
It's a stock line.
It is.
Yeah, they actually had a trim option for it too.
It's so prominent because the shadows it creates.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah,
What's
it's a
the
good one.
color on this car?
This is a factory Audi color. They call it Daytona Pearl Gray.
Great gray,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's a good one. This car, being that it's not we didn't build it to be a show car. He's
Yeah.
gonna drive it. I don't want it to be some custom mix
Yep.
that everybody's gonna fight. So
Yep.
this is sprayed with PPG, and like I said, it's a factory Audi color.
All right, let's go. I know we spent time on the interior, and it was really hard to not ask a bunch of questions. So
Sure.
let's go check the interior. Beautiful interior.
Yeah, it came out
Really pretty.
came out good.
How much of what we see that's covered in obviously leather, Alcantara, what have you, how much of it do you guys build in-house, and how much of it is SoCal building panels and what have you?
Yeah, the only part inside of this interior that we built outside of obviously the floors and whatnot is this dashboard.
Okay.
That was a customer idea. He dropped off the Nova, and he already had the chassis and some other parts, but he had one design thing that he was adamant about, and he brings and sits on my workbench a 1965 Chevy C10 dash. They got the double hump. If you're looking at it now, it might start coming at you, right?
As soon as you just said that, yeah.
And I said, "What the hell are you doing with this thing in my shop?" He goes, "I want to put this dash in the car." I said, "Jeremiah, what are we gonna do with this thing? You know?" He goes, "I don't know. I want the double hump, kind of Corvette-esque and whatever." So there's not much left of that dash, but we surely
So you started with that and then...
Yeah, we chopped it up and started
ballistic.
fitting it. Yeah, and tried to tastefully get this cool double hump vibe that the customer was looking for. So this was really one of his design thumbs that he had in the mix. And
Yeah.
there was a few of them because he kind of let us do our thing, but that was definitely one of them.
You guys did a fantastic job. Honestly, dude, getting the cage up and out of the way. Your door bar, super easy to step in. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it's not like the full protection, but
Right.
I'm sure this has got to add additional rigidity to the chassis.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously on a street car, we're not after certs or whatnot.
Yeah.
But we do want it to play a role in the stiffness of the vehicle and obviously some safety concerns. So
Sure.
we got it tucked up tight and did a cool little roof bar design.
Call me old. Thank you. I still like turning keys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, on classic cars, I still enjoy I don't mind a start button on a modern car. I like turning keys on old cars.
Yeah.
But then you add in all the modern components here, which I've gotten so used to seeing the Holly dash.
Yeah.
I love it when I see it. You
Sure.
know, I know I can swipe until I see what I want and all that.
Yeah, it's a cool feature. We went back and forth on that. I was trying to push him to a cluster. There's a lot of cost that comes along with doing a custom gauge cluster. And to find something off the shelf that you like, it's probably been used before. Customer decided he was cool with running this Pro Dash, and he kind of wanted that modern vibe, so
Yeah.
we ran with it.
I mean, it's funny to say you weren't building a show car when you sit in this car, but at the same time, I understand the amount of time and expense that's going to come with creating a full custom gauge cluster to this dash and the gauges themselves. I
Exactly.
mean, that could have added a lot of time to it. So I don't know, I dig it. So SoCal builds all the center console as well?
Yeah, they did. They started off by 3D scanning the interior of the vehicle, and we went back and forth on some CAD design. And really this was, Sean Smith had some renderings that we based it off of to some extent, but SoCal took it from there and created what you see here.
Fantastic job. Also the window switches, the feel of them. Yeah,
those are factory Porsche window switches.
They are.
Yeah, that's an OEM Porsche switch. We actually have to dissect them and do some solderings on the boards to make them just a ground trigger for our standard aftermarket power window relay pack that we use.
Yeah. And then this is dome on off. Which by the way, great light.
Yeah, SoCal made that light.
No shit.
Yeah, you can't buy that light. They made it.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got a dome light override. They obviously work on the door switches as well, but if you're in here and you want quick light, you can override it with the switch.
Yeah, I saw you lay your phone there. Is that a charging?
Yep.
No shit.
Yeah, it's a charge deck on it. Yep.
God, I just love what you can do with classic cars in the modern era.
Right.
What is this button here?
That's a traction control button that is wired into the car. We just have not proceeded to go through the extent of programming and whatnot.
Because I was going to say, when we drove it, it didn't seem like it was working very well.
No.
And didn't you say before, tilt and pedal box, right?
Yeah.
Tilt and hanging pedal
tilt
box?
Tilt hangings, yep.
Vintage air.
It's got a vintage air. That's the only ones we'll use. They're fantastic.
And is that their vents as well?
No, those are from another AC company that we just kind of picked one that was a little bit, I think actually SoCal sourced those for us when they were doing the interior and made that happen.
This is slick.
Yeah, the rear seat delete. Again, SoCal ran with that. That's their design.
Yeah.
We didn't really have anything drawn up for that. It's got 2 subs in it that are down fire, so they're fire and downward.
That is speakers, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a small speaker and a tweet in there. There's 2 of them.
Nice. And I know I said it during the drive, but got to throw it out to the SoCal guys. The grab handle here. Josh, did you grab that handle when he railed on it for a second? You're just tougher than I am. Fuck. I'm flat impressed. What are the seats from, by the way?
Those are a TMI platform that we've just reworked a little bit.
Nice.
Played with the bolster a tad, but for the most part, man, TMI seat is cost effective and sits pretty nice if you're going for this low back vibe,
Totally, comfortable seat. I mean, sitting in it, I forgot to ask while we were going.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know I mentioned it, but I love, harnesses are great anyways, but the simplicity, I mean, you're not racing this car, so the simplicity of just being able to throw it over and buckle it sure is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, these Sparco ones, this is just their 2-inch harness with a standard buckle on the belt, and I think that's a good mesh between street car and race car.
I think it's fantastic. All right, last thing, let's take a look inside the trunk, because I know that's not just a bare metal trunk. So is this a standard fuel tank under here, or is it it's Roadster Shop, so it's...
Yeah, it's their stainless steel tank they offer with this chassis.
Yep.
We just popped it up into the trunk floor, and the SoCal boys built a little provision for us around that nice little fuel fill. And we have cavities on both sides. This side is battery access, and the other side's some storage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. Very clean and magnetic, probably.
Yep, that's how they're doing it.
I just love that somebody came up with the idea and that's become the standard, it seems like.
Yeah.
Thanks for, I know you guys added on a whole extra day to be here with us today after Good Guys this weekend. Congrats, by the way. They did pick up Muscle Machine this year, so you're a finalist and in the running, which congrats.
Thank you.
Dude, thank you, and I'm glad I finally got to experience one of your cars.
I appreciate it, Sean. It was a great opportunity, great being here, and look forward to more in the future.
Cool. Awesome. You guys are probably thinking the same thing I am at this point, which is that's a sick car. I mean, that is just a badass car. The looks of it, the way it drives down the road. You saw it spin and tire effortlessly, and that was with modulating throttle input. Bottom line, badass car. I'm stoked to finally shoot with Mikey and his company, Driven Speed Shop. As always, thanks for hanging and watching what we do. I appreciate it. And remember, April 14th, here comes our podcast. April 14th, 3 p.m., Autotopia LA podcast channel. I'll see you in the next episode, you guys. Later.